Hello, hello, and welcome to another update video on Ethereum. So Ethereum is currently pulling back a little bit, but the pullback looks corrective in nature, which means we're overall looking for higher prices or overall watching still for higher prices in this. But again, to get the context right, and I only want to focus on the shorter time frame. Yesterday I covered the larger time frame and might do that later again. But here, what you can see on this chart at the moment is that we have a 5-wave move down. Yes, you can call that also a 3-wave move down. Absolutely, you could. You could label this, for example, as a WXY structure, like I have done it on the Bitcoin chart. That's possible. So WXY, and then in the Y wave A, B, C. But it just doesn't look like a C wave. We might then call it maybe even WXY, and then in the Y wave you have another WXY, which is where it's getting super messy. So not so important to get the nano structure right there. It is a correct count what I have. I've got 5 waves down, which means I interpret this as the A wave of a larger correction. You know, that's what the structure is telling me. I mean, it's not what I personally think, it's what the structure is telling me. Of course, I have to interpret it that way, but I can call it a 5-wave move down, and to be honest, the move to the upside so far confirms that thesis that I presented you there yesterday or a couple of days ago, because the move to the upside so far is a 3-wave move. So remember, we were watching this area around 4,100 as strong support. Price held, bounced, and moved up in 3 waves, which is kind of in line with the idea that this is most likely a corrective bounce. So if this really is a corrective bounce, yeah, it should let's say morph into a broader ABC structure to get the proportions right between the decline and the bounce. But any 3-wave move up indicates that this is likely and confirms further the thesis that this is likely just a part of a larger bounce, a corrective bounce. Yeah, not a new uptrend. Even though it could be, but for now, as long as we get only 3 up and not 5 up, the idea is this is a B wave. And the B wave should unfold as an ABC structure. And yesterday, I highlighted to you what the resistance cluster is here, the resistance area we're watching. And it's between $4,331 and $4,704. So the idea is, hey, I've got an ABC structure in wave A, got a B wave pullback, and then we could get a move up in C. So it reacted to resistance already. We start to see a pullback that looks kind of overlapping, messy, and corrective, which is good. In this context, that's good, because it aligns with the idea that this here could simply be a corrective pullback in a larger correction. So it basically is the correction in the correction, the B wave in the B wave. Oh dear. Basically just, a corrective pullback in a larger bounce, because as I said, a B wave is a 3-wave move. And the B wave is basically, the correction of the correction. And the support zone here, micro support, is between $4,132 and $4,256. As I said, this is micro support, and we've now reached it already. We've reached the first area there, the first level of micro support. Hold on. Let me shift that over, then you see that actually better. What did I do there? 1 second. Okay, so let's move that over. Yeah, you see here we've already reached now the 38.2 retracement. Entirely possible that this again is turning into an ABC structure. It's not really useful to label this. People think it will have to move like that. It's not the case, but technically we're looking for 3 waves in the B wave of the B wave as well. But once you start to track a B wave in a B wave in a B wave, you know you're too deep in the mess, all right? But yeah, in theory, that is how it should unfold, and then another leg up. Possibly to 4,500, 4,627. That's also where we have these previous swing highs. They can also act as structural resistance in any bounce before we then see the C wave down. So these are key structural levels here. Yeah, 4,580, 4,670, and 4,790 structural levels to watch. The move to the upside could technically even overshoot above the August high. That's possible in a B wave, even though it's rare when the A wave is 5 waves, but it can happen. So it could technically even give us one more high. Now, again, all of this doesn't strongly confirm a major top in place at this point, even though the 5-wave move down might be a warning. But as I said, it is a diagonal pattern at best, so it's not the cleanest 5-wave down, and we're still holding way above critical support levels on the larger time frame. So the extent of that B wave should then tell us where the C wave might land in the end. That's what we're going to track over the coming sessions, but it seems like we are going to stuck there in a sideways range for some time. I'll keep you updated. At the moment, watch for reactions here in this support zone. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, I invite you to join us on X for additional updates. You can find the link in the description and in the comment section. Here you can find infos about, charts, on-chain data, news, memes, all sorts of things. See you over there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.